Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Self Connection with Ginny Brown and Kelly Petra, where we have conversations with a group of ascended masters known as the multitude of the greater good.
Kelly is the ultimate question asker, and the multitude is more than happy to answer all the questions that are put forth either from Kelly or from our viewers. And the multitude is a group of ascended beings, ascended masters, very high level energies, and we connect on a very high level frequency. And their information is conveyed from the day of creation to the present time, plus whatever anyone has chosen to accomplish in this lifetime. So, Kelly, thank you for all your questions.
Well, thanks for channeling the answers, Ginny, and for being such a clear channel. Super, super helpful and important. And so today I thought we would go through some viewer questions because they are building. So thank you everyone for submitting your questions. If you have a question as you're listening or to any of our episodes and you want clarification on something we've talked about, or just a question pops up, not personal questions, but just general questions. You can submit your questions if you go to my website, www.themindfulherbalist.com, and click on the Self Connection in the main menu, and it'll bring you to a page that talks about the show. And at the bottom of the page, there's a form you can submit your questions. Again, we don't really take personal questions. If you want a personal reading or experience with Ginny, you can head over to her website, heartandhealing.com, and no, jbrown.net.
Yes.
Sorry. jennybrown.net.
Heartandhealing@hotmail.com is one of my email addresses.
Perfect. Thank you.
But it's jennybrown.net.
I don't know why I said that. I do know that it's jennybrown.net. Yeah, you can check out her website or email her and request a personal one-on-one session where you can bring your own personal questions. So today we are going to take your questions. You ready, Jen?
I'm ready.
So the topics are going to be varied because everyone's questions are varied. So we might bounce around a little bit.
And I have no idea what she's going to ask. None at all. So
yeah, Ginny doesn't actually get the questions. They come to me since they come through my website. So, and that's kind of how it goes. You never know what the topics are going to be. And we do that on purpose. One, so it's authentic. And, you know, a lot of times the topics that I bring forth, Ginny's never even heard about. So, you know, it really isn't coming from her. It's coming from the multitude. She's just the channel that brings forth the answers. Not just the channel, but she is the channel.
And we're ready. They're ready to go.
Well, thanks for being here, as always, to the multitude and to you, Ginny.
You're welcome.
Okay, so
We are most pleased, they said.
do they want to open with a message or they want us to just start asking questions?
It is important to understand that any questions that you ask are most important. We would like you to understand that we are most open to those inquiries of being as they allow us to expand ourselves as well. As you know, there are many, many, many of us, multitudes and multitudes of multitudes who comprise this group of beings, and we are most pleased to share each other's knowledge with each of you on the earth plane. Do not be concerned. All is love.
Okay. Before we get into a question, of course, this is how it always happens. I'm like, wait a minute, I want to understand this more because my mind keeps going. So when you channel a message, Ginny, like that, I just imagine there's actually this really great image out there where it's like all these angels staring down at earth from the clouds above, in the heavens above. And when you channel a message like that, that's like the impression I get. And I oscillate between, yeah, that's what's happening. or maybe it's and, um, like, there's not really anyone just sitting around waiting and like having this conversation with us. It's you accessing the information and streaming it in a very eloquent way, like your soul knows how to handle that and you know how to handle that. Um, is it actually that like there are divine beings like sitting around having this conversation with us, or is it you channeling the information and your soul translating, like accessing just energy and translating it through you as a channel? Like, what's the best way to think about that?
It's basically accessing the energy, and the energy comes through, and it somehow I'm able to translate that energy, and it comes out through words out of my mouth. I get it in my mind because the words are there, but I don't get it in my mind and give you the information. It just kind of flows through me. So it's all energy. Yeah.
You have
What I heard was also the angels are not involved. It's just the masters, ascended masters, and higher beings.
okay,
Angels are a different category.
good to know. I always thought of angels in that category, but it's not. Is there anything I want to say about that before we start diving in?
No,
Okay. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's see. First question. This is in capital letters, so I'm assuming the viewer is like referencing a term. The new age of compassion. What is it, and when are we going to be experiencing it? Must be a buzzword out there.
It is important to understand that it's like compassion is compassion at any time. When one refers to the new age of compassion, one is opening up oneself to the ability to be more compassionate, not only to themselves, but to others as well. If one chooses to put a title on it and label it as New Age, that is fine. However, in our estimation, compassion is compassion at any time and at all times. There is no beginning, there is no end. There is only the selfless feeling of love and care for oneself and for others. And that is appropriate at any time. Do not be concerned.
Okay. Yeah, I got this feeling as I read that question that someone heard somewhere out there, we are entering the new age of compassion. And I mean, that's my guess. There's a lot of prophecies out there, we've talked about that in other.
I think if that is out there as the new age of compassion, it will help focus people on compassion. So
Yeah,
so
for sure.
it could be a good thing,
Oh, absolutely. And I think enter
new age or not.
enter your own personal new age of compassion,
Exactly.
why not?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay, the current healthcare landscape. What is going on? So many people on prescription drugs, especially for mental health, anxiety, and ADHD. Is it due to the changing electromagnetic earth field? Will there be a shift in this energy of consciousness in the foreseeable future?
It is important to understand, my dear, that there is growth involved in all areas of one's being. And it's like, and that area is how some have chosen to expand themselves, to expend the energy in a direction of self-love and self-care. If one is interested in allowing oneself to be who one is, one allows oneself to care for oneself on every level. And there are those who are unaware that there is another way of like taking care of themselves. Therefore, they focus on the physical, on the elements involved in caring for one's own body and allowing oneself to move forward in the direction that they deem necessary. In our estimation, however, it would be wise for one to understand who one is before one allows oneself to let another understand who one is. When one moves forward in that sense of self and being, one allows the all that is to step in and help in the healing process. However, many are unaware of this possibility. Do not be concerned.
So it has nothing to do with the changing electromagnetic field of the earth.
In our estimation, the electromagnetic field is it's like an inappropriate measurement. That's all I got.
Yeah, it seems like they're not related. Unrelated, two separate topics. Okay. Were the recent hurricanes man-made? By whom and with what intent? Okay, I'm assuming they're talking about the ones that hit like North Carolina. It's December 2024, and so I guess the hurricanes hit a month or two ago at this point.
Yeah.
Appalachia. Okay.
It is important to understand the weather is controlled by Mother Earth and only Mother Earth alone. Man can try to make changes in some ways or other, and in some respects are successful in some areas. However, no one can control the weather other than Mother Earth. She knows what she needs, she knows what she wants, and she knows how to attain it. Do not be concerned. When the time is right, Mother Earth will endear herself to the energies of allowing those on the earth plane to thrive differently. However, at this moment in time, she is the only one in charge of herself, as each one is in charge of themselves. Do not be concerned.
Okay. So it sounds like there might be ways in which man can influence weather, and if man is successful in doing so, the spirit of Mother Earth steps into the allowing for her own growth to experience that.
When it is that Mother Earth allows it's intercession, I'm getting help and intercession,
Yeah.
she will allow it to go only so far. She is the only one that can control it's like the velocity and the intensity of like those storms that you're talking about.
Yeah.
The velocity and the intensity of that which is going on the earth plane. It is on her behalf, for her behalf, and she is allowing the all that is to step in when necessary. However, when there are those on the earth plane who believe that they are in control of the changing weather, they are sorely, it's like misinterpreting their own powers, as they are incapable of allowing the weather to be anything other than guided by Mother Earth.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, because I know I can feel you hear like collective conversation around this, and there's always there's chemtrails, there's cloud seeding, which I think cloud seeding originally was for drought areas and to hopefully produce rain or whatever. So besides the Mother Earth piece, is there malicious intent around weather control when it comes to man's intent around weather control?
It is important to understand there are those who are not like upfront or on the up and up as one might say. However, it's like their input is minuscule, as they have very little to do with controlling the weather, even though they may believe that they have a great deal of control. In our estimation, it is important to understand that when it is that Mother Earth decides to move forth, she does. And when it is that she decides she needs help, she allows. Otherwise, it's like men's research and like their input, their control of things is inconsequential. Do not be concerned, all is love.
I literally heard inconsequential before you said it. That's so funny. Very interesting. Well, that settles a lot of conspiracy theory out there. I mean, I would still imagine, I don't know if part of the ill intent, I know people are, okay, asking these questions, I know people are very interested in chemtrails.
Yeah. So
What would be a question around that, I guess?
we can tell you that there is no malintent in chemtrails. If it is that one is interested in, it's like alleviating the issues of Earth, they will not use a chemtrail, so to speak. However, in our estimation, it is not important, and it is not malicious, and it is not detrimental to the Earth plane.
Awesome. One less thing to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Gosh, I feel like we could probably do a whole episode on those conspiracies. But I'm going to keep going with viewer questions, which means we're changing topics completely. What is true about walk-ins?
It is important to understand that walk-ins is a misnomer. There are those on the earth plane who believe that if one is dissatisfied or can no longer move forward in that part of themselves, they allow another being to step in. In our estimation, it is not a possibility on the earth plane. In our estimation, when one is dissatisfied with one's being and one knows that there is a better way, one allows a different part of oneself to allow. One allows the inability to move forward in one direction to subside and allows the ability of another part of oneself to allow oneself to move forward differently. In our estimation, there are those who may assume it is another spirit. However, it is not. It is important to understand that each one has lived many lifetimes, some less than others, some more than others. However, there is a great deal of knowledge contained or stored in the super self, as one might call it, and allows one to bring through whatever one needs whenever one needs it. Therefore, it may be a totally different change than one might expect. However, it is not a different being, a different soul, a different energy. It is one person allowing different parts of oneself. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Cool. That settles that.
Yeah.
I think of it that way. Like, that's why I love asking. I have heard of this concept. I haven't really like dove into what people mean by walk-ins, but they explained it pretty well.
Yeah, I've heard of walk-ins, and I've heard people say this one has changed and it was due to a walk-in. And
Yeah.
it's not true.
It never seemed to resonate with me, so I didn't really kind of go into it. Feels oftentimes it feels like some of these theories, like when there's a lot of like disempowerment of the self, I can kind of like, and that's not true, you know. People talk about it, so okay. regarding the show, The Chosen. Oh, I love that show. Do you know that show, Jenny?
No, I don't. I'm not familiar with it.
It's about Jesus, like the life of Jesus.
Okay.
It's powerful. Like, I actually really like this question because I'm curious. Regarding the show, The Chosen, is
What is
Jesus,
it on? The Chosen. It's on Netflix.
I don't remember. I
Okay.
think actually the more recent season you have to watch on the app because they had problems with the studio, not the studio had problems with the network or something, and they wouldn't put it out there.
Okay.
It follows the life of Jesus, like the short time of his life, I guess, like the biblical time, right? Like where he just is starting his ministry, and then I mean, I'm assuming the next season is gonna go over the crucifixion. And it's interesting because it's like I feel like it's almost a non-religious take on him. So it resonates a bit for me because it really just boils down to like his goodness and not, all the doctrine around the Christian religion.
Right.
And I think the actor who plays him does a fantastic job. And brings up a lot of emotion, which is probably why this question is coming in. Okay. You should watch it though. It's really good. I actually learned a lot of, well, if it's depicted accurately, I learned a lot about the Jewish religion because it takes place in the Jewish community. Okay. Regarding the show The Chosen, is Jesus working with the actor who plays him in order to help him depict an accurate portrayal of who Jesus was in that incarnation? How accurate is the portrayal of Jesus in this television show? Why is it that the audience feels so strongly that the actor is very aligned with the truth of Jesus? Is the actor able to channel Jesus? I guess it's the same question asked different ways. Maybe Jesus wants to answer. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
It is important to understand that as each one goes and each one grows, each one understands more and more of who each one is. In our estimation, that is the premise of the show. As one moves forward in who one is and one grows and understands, one allows oneself to expand more and more. In our estimation, that is the result of The Chosen. In our estimation, however, it does not matter how things are depicted. It just matters as the connection it makes in each person. In our estimation, there are many things regarding the portrayal of Jesus and others that is true, and many that are untrue. And it is impossible on the earth plane to portray it all perfectly. However, we would like each one to understand that as it is that Jesus moved forth through his life, that each one on the earth plane has the possibility and responsibility of moving forward in their own lives in such a manner as to honor themselves and allow themselves what is rightfully theirs. In our estimation, the story as it is portrayed is that of what has been written in the books on the earth plane. However, what has been written in the books on the spiritual level is quite different. As in the spiritual level, it takes into consideration not only the emotion and allowance of Jesus himself, but all of those around who are watching and wishing and loving and unable to proceed and able to proceed and unable to do anything in their own sense of self. In our estimation, it is important to understand The Chosen is a wonderful production of what has been written. It is also true in some respects and not others. and Jesus is most pleased to be portrayed in such a wonderful light of being. In our estimation, however, each one on the earth plane has the ability to be portrayed in their own wonderful light of being. Do not be concerned.
Okay, I do feel like they didn't answer part of that question though.
Yeah.
That was really helpful though.
Was it?
Yeah. The part about like, is the actor channeling Jesus?
It is important to understand that in order to allow himself the ability to portray Jesus in such a wonderful way, he has called upon not only Jesus, but many others and many parts of himself to allow him to move forward in such a way. It is important to understand that there are many who were involved in the processes of the times. And it is important to understand that one calls upon those processes of oneself as well as those of Jesus in order to allow themselves the ability to portray that which they wish to portray. Do not be concerned. In our estimation, he is doing a beautiful job in connecting with himself as well as connecting with Jesus. When he asks, he is given, as when each one asks, they are given. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Wow. I will say, when you watch that show, like you do feel like just, it just comes through his eyes. It's beautiful. The compassion and that unconditional love that everyone claims he was, it comes through. It's a beautiful show, Jenny.
I'll have to see if I can
I
find
mean,
it.
I mean, I'm not really Christian anymore. I was raised Christian, but I I appreciate Jesus in a deeper way than I ever did. So watching that show to me is like, oh, I do love it.
I'll
Okay.
look.
Okay. What, I'm switching topics now. Next question. Um, and I'm not going to explain what I think the person means by this, but we'll see what they answer and then if there's a follow-up. What is true about glitches in the matrix?
It is important to understand that when one believes there is a glitch, there is a glitch. However, in our estimation, when one moves forward in that which they know, they are moving themselves forward within any and every matrix that can be perceived. Do not be concerned. The matrix is that of it's not a fiction, but it is the product of someone's mind. And when one moves forward in that knowing, there are many avenues to pursue. In our estimation, however, there is only one avenue to pursue, and that is one being in close proximity with one's own self, one on the earth plane in proximity with oneself in spirit, and moving forward from the connected self. Do not be concerned, all is love.
Okay, so I think what this is referring to, and I've seen like compilation videos. Have you ever seen these? Where they'll say glitches in the matrix. And with video editing these days, you don't know what is true or what's like actually being filmed as what they would call a glitch, but it's like, you know, a person crossing a street and it's like a surveillance camera catches this. They're crossing the street and then suddenly they disappear. They're not on the camera anymore. Or like, it's a lot of that. Or like I saw one the other day where like a woman was like, they say she's caught in a loop and she's like repeating this pattern. And it looks like like a it looks like an edit of someone like repeating an action over and over again, over and over again. And they're like, oh, she's caught in a loop. So like you see these compilation videos. I guess just as a follow-up, how could what could the multitude say about the truth of what's actually happening in those, like, maybe it's video editing, but if there's any truth to those things, like what's happening in those things, in those instances.
It is important to understand that as each one moves forward in and within themselves, they make the decisions as to how their life will or will not be. If one chooses to leave the earth plane at a certain time, one may. However, in our estimation, 99% of the time, those like those videos or those things you're talking about, 99% of the time they are not truth. They are only that part of oneself that wishes to make things different, better, easier to handle, able to move forward differently. Do not be concerned. All is love.
Okay. All right, we'll just go move on from that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be follow-up questions if there is one. Okay. I didn't notice what time we started recording, Jenny, so keep
Yeah.
going. Keep going.
Yeah. Let's do one more.
Okay. Is Rudolph Steiner's concept of the lesser guardian at the threshold an accurate depiction of ascension, or is it just describing the life review process at death? Too much about that.
Well, since I'm not familiar with that at all, this will be interesting.
I really don't know either, to be honest. So
It is important to understand that each one allows oneself the growth required in order to move oneself forward. In our estimation, it is important to understand that the life review process is an automatic process when one moves forward from the earth plane into the spiritual plane. It is one each one is set up for oneself before coming to the earth plane. Each one allows oneself to experience and then to review. And when one returns, one reviews those things that one can learn, those things that one can teach, those things that one has done, those things that one has not done, those things in life that affect others, and those things in life of others that affect them. When one is ready to make that review, it happens. It is important to understand that when one leaves the physical body, one just returns to one's own self in spirit, and one allows the review of the experiences to allow one to it's like go back. How do I want to say? Coagulate is the word I'm getting, but I don't think that's what they mean. It's just reintegrate with oneself in order to move oneself forward. It is a review process of love. It is nothing to be feared, as it is part of the process of being in spirit as well as being on the earth plane. When one is on the earth plane, there are many consequences. When one is in spirit, the consequences are non-essential. Do not be concerned.
okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't know what the book is, but I hope that that
I
helps.
feel like I remember reading something about it, but I can't remember the details to what this is referring to. So I'd have to go back and reread it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I read it. I don't think I read a book. I might have read an article or heard a video.
Well, that was kind of short question. You can ask another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you go up to heaven at the age you're at when you leave here? If there's no physical body, how can you tell who's who? I feel like we kind of covered that in another episode.
It is important to understand that each one's energy is just a little bit different from each one's other energy. There is no body that is truth. However, there is the energetic resonance of one with another. It is how each one, it's like tells each one apart by their energetic resonance. When one leaves one's body, one can be at any age and return as at any age. It is one's own prerogative as how they wish to experience their return. It does not matter if one is young or old, or if one returns young or old. The information is the information, and all is like added to the information, the whole of the information that each one carries. Do not be concerned, all is love.
When they're saying return, are they talking about like a visitation, like a ghost return and show themselves in that way? Is that what they meant?
About, I was thinking the question was talking about how one's soul returns when it leaves the body.
Oh, returns to the all that is.
To
Got
them, and to themselves.
Got it. Okay. All right.
So
Well, we just traversed the universe with random questions. I kind of like that. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. They're all different.
Yeah. Do they have a closing message they'd like to share, or just be done?
They always have a message. It is important to understand that each one grows to each one's capacity of growing. If one allows oneself a great capacity of being, one will allow a great capacity of growing. If each one decides that they are minuscule on the earth plane and that their being on the earth plane is of no importance, one will allow oneself to grow minimally. However, whatever growth is attained is also allowed to complete one's process of being on the earth plane and allow one to connect one's processes on the earth plane with oneself in spirit. It is time for each one to understand that there is more than just one self being on the earth plane. There is that part of self on the earth plane with the 99.9% of self in spirit. And when one is in connection with oneself in spirit, one allows oneself to grow. It's like completely, continuously, and it's like exponentially. Do not be concerned. All is love.
Thank you.
Message. Okay.
Think big, people. I think don't think you're just this small, inconsequential.
Yeah.
I think I needed to hear that one, actually.
Everyone's here for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
The importance. A lot of times when I channel, the multitude will come through with the importance of self. It's to acknowledge the importance of oneself on the earth plane, that each one is here of their own choosing, and also the responsibility of self. They're important to be here. So that's all.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go through trials and tribulations that make them feel small and inconsequential. So
Don't realize that the importance of being on the earth plane.
yeah.
Not only to themselves, but to everyone else. So,
Yeah, for sure.
So
All right. Well, thanks for channeling today, Ginny.
you're welcome. Thank you for asking your questions, and thank you, viewers, for your questions. They are quite diversified.
Very much so. So keep them coming. We're happy to ask them here on the show. And thanks to the multitude for showing up and providing such great answers.
We are always able and willing. Do not be concerned.
Yeah.
Always love.
Yeah, it brings a lot of clarity, I think. So,
It's all right.
all right. Well, thanks everyone for watching the Self Connection. We'll see you next time.
And thanks, everyone. And thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Jen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.